start it off.
All right, guys. It's both of y'all. Got two of y'all. Okay, so this is different because I got two in front of me. So I guess we'll start by you introduce yourselves. So I'm gonna start with you. Introduce yourself.
All right, well, my name is Erik. I'm known more by the name Bread Up Rich, my rap name, but I'm gonna be Erik today.
All right, Erik. Nice to meet you, Erik.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my name is Butch, but I also go by Bamo, or my family calls me Andrew because my middle name. So, yeah.
Okay, all right, I like that. I like that. So, question, because you all have nicknames. Why did you choose to have? Oh, you said stage names.
Mm-hmm.
So, why did y'all choose to have stage names and not use your regular name? Is that something that you typically do?
Really, coming up in my generation, there was no rapper had their own name. You know, remember back in the day, every rapper went by some type of cool stage name. So it was all about trying to find a name. And I think Bread Up, I went through some horrible names. And I think on my way, but I think Bread Up Rich was kind of what stuck because I had put a whole movement behind the name. I had a whole focus point behind the name. It's just like, now I'm just getting to the point I feel like I outgrew the name and just being Erik now, you know?
Okay, so how did Bread Up Rich come from? So what was it? What was the meaning behind it?
Just feeling like I was working a job and I was slaving. It was me and two other guys, and we just went and slaved all night and at a job, but it was a consistent job, but when you look at the check, it was like, I got responsibilities. So, and we just always used to say, man, we gotta get our bread up, you know. And I remember I made a song called Bread Up, and it just stuck. So we just started running around calling ourselves the Bread Up Gang, you know. And it was just, the focus was just on, tired of being at the bottom. So you were trying to bread up, not just about getting money, but mentally as well. You know, you were trying to it was just another way of saying level up, you know?
Okay, I like. Okay, so how did your name come about?
Not as cool as that. Really, it was just, I tried to figure out a name that I liked and something that I can use to kind of just actually hide away from my parents. Because I didn't want my parents to know I was making these type of songs and stuff like that. Because when you're 16 and you're cussing a lot of your music,
right,
especially when I first started out, I didn't know better or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, because the first time that they actually caught me ever rapping, I was saying a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it for that.
Okay, I like. So then this actually leads to that question I was telling you guys about. So my friend came on the show, and we just randomly decided to do the show. And so we asked my son a question, and he says, what does money mean to us?
Mm-hmm.
So my friend went and he just did his little spiel on what he felt money meant. And I had to sit and I paused for a second. I was like, darn. Because it was such a different perspective of money. And so I just wanted to know from you guys, and either one of you can start, is how do you define money, and what does money mean to you?
Money, to me, it used to mean everything because you felt like that's what you needed in the world to survive. But as you got older, you realized that, there's never enough money. Like, no matter how much money you're getting, you always feel like you don't have enough, so you don't really find happiness. So to me, money started becoming a way of being a prison to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it becomes so much of your focal point that you don't think of nothing else. It owns you. But you know what I'm saying? That's how I look at money. And that's why I wanted to change get away from the whole bread up persona, because that's what we was about, trying to just make money. And the more you gain, the more you lose. If you don't have it, it's like your whole world shuts down, and that's why I think it becomes your prison, because when you start being content with what I got, that's what God blessed me with. And I got to accept this. I wish I could have more, but I find happiness in just, getting what God has for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what money is to me.
I like that. I like that. Nice.
Well, again, when it comes to like money for me, I was always brought up that it's a necessary thing. You always have to make more money every single month. When it comes to like that, because my parents always raised me, is like you need money to do stuff that you want to do. And when I wanted money and wanted to do extra stuff, that's when I would go out, make more money, sell drugs, fucking get a part-time job, get a full-time job, whatever it needs to be, then move on. But now, as I'm getting older, all I need is simply like $400 just to survive. And that's all I need right now. $400 a week, of course. I gotta pay the car bill, and that's all I'm happy with, for real, for real. Yeah.
That's interesting because I struggled with that, and the first thought that came to mind, and I go back and forth. It just depends on when the day is. Depends on how I feel about money, but it's like almost like society tells you that you have to have money,
Right.
and in order to have the basic stuff, you still have to have money.
Right.
So then it's like in my head, I'm like, okay, I get it, right? But then that's when I'm like, the same way that you guys are saying it, like especially what you're saying too as well, is that you do have to know that God is in control, or whoever you want to call him. So basically, you're going to be taken care of. So just like what you said with the $400, you can live off of $400 amazingly sometimes. It just means that you might not necessarily live that high lifestyle that some people feel like we have to have. But again, I think it changes throughout the years, and like I said, mine is moment to moment. Depends on how I feel. But like I was telling my friends, like, I mean, it's hard to say you don't need money. But I think he said something like you didn't need money, and I was like, well, it's hard to say you don't need money because when you have to keep that electric on, and they're calling you, and they're like, that bill needs to be paid.
To clarify, I understand that you need money. I mean, obviously, because the people coming for their rent money, and you got to produce that. You know what I'm saying? You can't say, I don't believe money is not important, and they just walk away. But it's like, just how, and we were talking about it being like a prison, and then you would say, like, it depends on how I feel about it that day. Like, it just takes up so much of your mind because you're always thinking about, and sometimes it's things that you got to do. I feel like I have to cut out of my life too to be able to survive off of $400. You know what I'm saying? And I've been there. Shoot, my last job, man, I feel like I was surviving off of $300 every 2 weeks, and it was beating me down. Like, man, I can't take care of a family like this, But I also, all right, let me give half to my wife, and I just need money to get to and from work. And even though it wasn't much, I still see how it like carried me over. It continued to let me push forward. So I was still thankful for that. It's like, money is a necessity. We need money, but we also have to see, like, as long as our needs are taken care of, money takes care of our needs, we can be content with that, because some of the things we want, they're not necessarily needs. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But when that got the roof over our head, we got something to eat, we got gas to get to and from work so we can make more money. Yeah, I wish we can, go to Outback Steakhouse, or I wish we can go on a trip. No, but right now, let's just appreciate this roof.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. Did you want to add anything?
Well, it's like, just hearing what he's saying is like, there's two different perspectives of everything, because you have a family, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got kids and all that.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, I don't have kids. I'm lucky enough to still be living with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, that's two different perspectives. He has a lot more, I would consider, to fight for than me.
Right.
Like, as of right now, it's just a smooth sailing, where I can tell this dude right here has been trudging a lot more through it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But then it's also, how old are you?
20.
20. I'll be 37 this year, so it's like almost a 20-year gap. Because I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
I was your age where, I still had like a safety net, and all that's cool. But, I wish I would have had the mentality that I'm starting to have now, where you can see, like, all right, I got a safety net here, but let me try to get to a point where I don't need the safety net. It's there in case I fall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's like just going through a lot in that 20-year age gap that we got, you know. But
And I like how you just noticed that too, that it is a different, our stories change
Right.
as we age.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's gonna look different as we age, it's gonna look different because of our circumstances. So I like that you both are in two different age ranges, because that helps us to see a different perspective of it. But what's interesting about that is when I think about that money perspective, it's like, you're right, because I've had to cut back and do different, but I realized that I still have enough money. And I was trying to figure it out one time. I was like, well, this is weird, because I actually still have enough money despite making less. And I was like, how did that happen? But it's right, you provided for, because it's like, it just seems like out of the blue something will come up and I'll get extra money for whatever reason. Somebody will hand it to me, somebody will give it to me, but because again, you're right.
And I just
Right.
did a post. I just did a post this morning when I was talking about just like when you're at those times where like you don't know how things are gonna happen. You know, you feel like you don't have enough, but then certain things happen like out of nowhere. You say, you know, money can just pop up. Somebody can just say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Here, take this. You know, and we'll take it and say, hey, thanks, man. I needed that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm starting to get in those moments to be like, you know, thank you.
That's
God.
what I do.
Thank you for real, because I didn't know how this was going to turn out. You know, and I just had that. Like me and my wife, we had moved out of apartments, got us a new townhome in a different area. You know, and we really never could get to the point where we enjoyed the house because. You know, she got in an accident as soon as we got there. So then I had to lose my job because I had to be there to make sure she got to her doctor's appointment, make sure that she you know, could get around. My stepdaughter was in an accident too, so I got two to care for. And I was making good money to the point where we can be able to move. And then I lost all that. When all that happened, they left in the car, and 10 minutes later, I'm going to find her, you know, on the scene, you know, and then job gone because they don't care what you gotta go through. These trucks still gotta go out, you know. Then been trying to get back on my feet, get another job, and you take those jobs and get us a little bit, or you know, but I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, we didn't know how we were going to pay the rent, and the rent was high because we moved into something better. You know, we didn't know how we were going to do it, but I noticed like this month the eviction notice didn't come.
Exactly.
We don't know what happened, but it just didn't come for whatever reason. And all you can do is like, you know, thank God, because I thought we was going to have to go move to a hotel. We ain't got that money, you know. You know.
So yeah, you make an excellent point, because it's like, and I think it's just now I'm realizing it's just to have that faith and just let go and let it happen.
And that's the hardest thing to do.
It is hard
That's
in the
the hardest
moment.
thing to do.
It's super hard in the moment, extremely hard. Right? So I'm gonna this is what he has said, and you brought up that point when you just said a second ago, and poof, the job was gone.
Yeah.
And what he said was, that's what hit me when he said with his money, and we both were like, paper. He was like, exactly. So he said, so if you had this amount of money and it got burnt, somebody burnt your dollars, or your, you know, your 10,000 or 100,000 you had, you don't have it anymore. It's gone. Like it's just literally it was just an ideal. It's a piece of paper that means absolutely nothing when you think about it. It has value only when you have it, but then when it's gone, there's no value in it. And so it could be wiped out in a second. Like in just a second, somebody could steal it and it's gone. And I was like, oh, you're right. So then I'm like, okay, so then let's take it to another meeting. Maybe we need to look at money in a different perspective. Maybe we need to look at it in a different way. But that, I'm not sure. I'm still going to reflect on that a little bit, because that hit me hard, because it was like, whoa, right. So I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, we need to look at the ideal of money in a different way, even though society has it one way.
And going to church a lot more, you know, it was funny. It was crazy when that accident happened, and I ended up losing my job that fast because it was right around the time when they were talking about making where money can become your God. You know what I'm saying? Where that becomes the priority over everything, and you lose it so fast because God is gonna show you like what you gonna do when you lose that. Then you have faith. I mean, you by saying you, I mean myself too, because I think that's why that situation happened, because money became my God, and I started getting prideful because I knew I had money coming in. I knew things were going good, you know, and I was slacking so much, you know. I lost it, and it just, you know, it beat you down. Yeah, and I think that's really the root of it, you know. Anything we do in excess, it's like it becomes our God.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and you know.
So earlier outside you were talking about like weed and stuff like that, how you gonna stop it and not like do as much. Would you consider that to be the same aspect as you just said with the money?
Well, with weed, I think weed, yeah, because that can take control of your whole, that can take control of your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You wake up and that's all you're thinking about. That's all you put over everything. It alters your attitude. If you don't got it, you this way. If you got it, you good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything that can take, God can take control of each of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
He can make things work good for us. He can take our life right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So anything that you can allow to control you can become that's what you make in your God, because you allow it to control you. You allow it to supposedly build you up, or you allow it to break you down.
And at the same token, money can be good too, because there's some good things that go with money. We have money, we can do things to support other people. And
my question for you is, how much work do you think is actually necessary, or not say necessary, but you have to do to get the money? You know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where, this is coming like from a perspective, because I had jobs where I was literally killing myself just to make the money happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your opinion about what's too far and what's too little? I like to hear that from you too, you being older and everything.
Okay, right. I mean, for me, it's value is what I value. The things that are more important to me will make a difference in how much I feel like I need to get. And that has changed throughout the times, again, as I've gotten older. But what I found is that I refuse now to jeopardize my health and my sanity and to be stressed for money. So if that means that I have to cut back, which I did, in order to have a different lifestyle, then I am. And I'm okay with that.
Okay.
However, I'm torn because, again, I came from a lifestyle where basically money was a big deal. You know, if I would say right, because, okay, so if my background is basically, I'm in the professional world, I'm in like the higher professional world, right? I've been there for years, forever. And one of the things in that world is all the people around me, we have a certain lifestyle. So it's like, at one time I thought, okay, well maybe I'm searching for it because of what I see around me, you know, but then I realized that no, it really isn't that, because even when I have a lot of money, I still can take that money and I can save. I'm really good with saving, right? So I realized that I'm not a slave to money. I've never been a slave to money. I realized that because I can adjust when I have to. I've learned to adjust. Even if I have to cut back on something, I cut back on it. If I have, let's say I had 20-something thousand. Let's say I made $5,000 a week. But let's say I made $5,000 for that week. I would never spend that whole $5,000.
Right.
Now, people who are around me might say, okay, well, I'm going to go get that Louis Vuitton bag. Like, I have a lot of friends, that's their lifestyle, and that's fine. They like the finer things. That's good. I do too. But not to the point that I will jeopardize, you know, myself and my values, or do certain things to get it. So I will sacrifice, and I won't do it. But I also have vision. You know, so my vision is one way. So like, let's say for me, what's important to me is having I like a nice house. because I'm a homebody. So I like to have a house that represents me, that I can enjoy, I can spread out, because I know I'm going to be spending most of my time in the house. So I want my house to be what I want it to be, even if it is to everybody else might be, ooh, her house is like, why does she want a gigantic house? Because for me, that is what I value. That's the main place that I want to spend my time with. But now car, I don't care. I can have a basic car. You know, I don't care if my car doesn't have to be the neatest addition of car. When it comes to, like, say, technology, it doesn't have to be the biggest in technology. When it comes to clothes, I buy a discount. I find whatever's on sale, whatever looks good, I make it work. I make it work for me. I don't go through all the excess. Because I also value, like I said before, I don't want to be a slave to my money, and I don't want to be working somebody's job where somebody's telling me you got to do X, Y, Z, because I'm going through that right now, where I'm like torn between making a decision about something. And to me, I would rather have my peace of mind, even if it meant that I have to take a pay cut for a little bit in order to get to the next point. Now, is it a struggle? Yes, because I have responsibilities, because I built a certain lifestyle that I'm trying to at least kind of protect a little bit, not to go totally back. But for me, again, that's where I'm at as far as when it comes to money.
Okay, I get you. So what about you, Ben?
All right, let me see. Repeat the question.
All right.
So,
Something about more important.
so when it comes to the money aspect, how much are you willing to sacrifice mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, to make sure you get that money?
Right now, I'm not really trying to sacrifice anything to get it. Yeah, I just want this. I mean, not saying that I've been in a lot of situations in my life where I've sacrificed a whole lot, you know, because I was young, and you know that's what we were taught growing up. You know, you sell drugs, or you rob somebody to sell drugs, and I was on some robbing everything, you know. Back in the day, I couldn't sell drugs to save my life, but I lost so much in that process, because I always say I wasn't a good thief, because that's all I got locked up for was robbing stuff, you know. But it was a career for me, you know. And now it's like got my freedom back, you know. I got my rights restored. I got a family now. I got married. Now it's like I don't really want to sacrifice too much, because I know what that sacrifice can cost me. You know, now it's like, and that's where the faith in God really started to kick in, because I used to get to the point of like, I'm tired of being broke, man. I'm about to pick up a pack. You know, I'm tired of being broke, man. I'm about to, you know, had to jack me somebody. You know what I'm saying? But thankfully I never did that. But I just to avoid having to feel like I gotta do that, I have to, you know, have faith in God to get me through. Like, all right, I'm gonna do the best I can do at this job, even though it ain't making ends meet. You know, I'm just gonna humble myself and have faith in you to take care of the rest. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do the best I can do, spiritually, mentally, physically. Trust you to take care of the rest.
Okay, so then that kind of leads to, I like where this is going, because what I'm thinking in my mind.
Good.
Okay. Remember I said I wanted to kind of get your story. So part of my ideal of life is we all have a journey that we get to a point where we get to. And part of that is that money is part of our journey, because it starts early from what we've seen in our families. Maybe our families, you know, were well off and we didn't have to struggle, or maybe it was the opposite end and it caused major problems in our household. So we develop these belief systems from the things that happened to us in the early parts of our lives. And so I think that everybody's story is different. Everybody's way of getting to something is different, and then everybody's perspective is different. And we need to respect everybody's, you know, perspective, because how they got there is how they got there. Doesn't mean that yours is right or mine is wrong, or you know, better or whatever. It just doesn't matter. So I'm curious to just kind of get back. We're going to piggyback on some of your experiences as you went through some of the parts of your journey in your life. So I want to start with like probably I don't know if any of you all remember your elementary years.
Yeah.
You do? Oh, okay.
I'm more closer to that.
I gotta remember that. That's true. Okay, so talk on. Tell me a little bit about what it was like being the little you.
Okay. I love me. That's funny. No, it was I was never really the popularest kid in school. I was always that kid that would like, instead of playing like basketball or doing like all of the more physical activities, I'd be sitting with my homies like playing Pokemon or like Yu-Gi-Oh! And like the little side part where it's like away from people and stuff like that. That's when it started to me picking back in. It's like, that's my crew, that's my people, that's people I love and respect for all time. Going through like, I don't know, first grade all the way up until, what was it, like at least fifth grade. First grade to fifth grade, I would see so many different avenues or different types of people. Like I would see people that they would come from home and I could tell that they're not having the same problems as me. And I was very keen on picking that up because I would see that, oh, that kid that was a troublemaker and stuff like that, just getting to talk to him and stuff like that, he would say, hey man, I'm hungry. Can I get like a sandwich or some grapes off you or something like that? And seeing that, my parents always told me, it's bad saying this because my parents, they're very protective, especially in elementary school days. They would tell me never to share your food because that time it was slim pickings. It was dollar store, Dollar General, whatever, just to make sure we get the food that we need for ourselves. And it was like, when it came with the money aspect of things, from what I remember back then, it was all just slim pickings. You know what I'm saying? It was just noodles and oodles. If it's anything, we're asking my grandparents for help, which I can tell my parents didn't like that back in the day because they would rely on my grandparents to come pick me up in the morning to go to school and stuff like that because they had to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it was the aspect of it pretty much for the whole entire elementary school life. It was me seeing that my life wasn't the greatest compared to other kids, but also seeing that there's other lives out there that are 10 times worse. And I experienced that when I was young. And I hate to say that because usually when people talk about their elementary school days, they're talking about, oh, we just played games or we just did everything, like all the fun stuff and stuff like that. I experienced like the hard, what I would consider hard stuff. And I had friends that they were going home to themselves, like by themselves, because they hadn't had their parents to come pick them up from school and stuff like that. There's been times where myself, I would be at school waiting for my parents because they were still doing the extra hours just to make sure we get money, just so we get money to have like the food and stuff like that. That was pretty much it for the elementary school days.
So during that time, do you recall any of like the feelings that you felt during that time?
Really, it was just more confusion aspect of it because like every time I would see other people, I'll be, why is this person going through this? Whenever I asked them, it was always dodge the question. It wasn't them telling me what's up because they're also young too, so they don't know how to express their feelings, especially back then when in the county that I lived in, it was majority whites, and I hate to say that. So seeing like people that like other races, like Mexican, Hispanic, anything like that, it was majority of that too. I would see just the struggles they were going through and just being confused on why they're going through it. Like, because I see the struggles I'm going through, and I said before, they're going through it 10 times worse. And I was like, I was always just very confused. Never understood why. You know what I'm saying?
Always asking the question why. It always crossed your mind. Why is this? Why is this?
me growing up, I was
Do you
probably.
remember elementary?
Yeah.
I'm saying you old,
I
but
was probably actually the opposite
okay.
of your story. You know, first, I was always a good kid at school, like honor roll, scholar roll type kid. Like my dad was real Joe Jackson-y about, you know, just how what his standards were as far as how to carry yourself and how to, you know, especially at school. Like he carried, you're great, you know, you represent me. Like that was the greatest name in the world or something. But and as far as like upbringing, we would, you know, we were like middle class, you know. we had a nice house, you know. I know we didn't like have no time where we probably didn't have a lot, but you know, we never went hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, we lived in the county, like it was pretty easy growing up. I think it really got like after, as I got older, I think that's when things really started getting crazy. But elementary school, that was pretty much a breeze for me right there. And I did pick up like, that's why I picked up writing though. I had a third grade teacher named Mrs. Quarles. My favorite teacher. She passed now, but yeah, she used to be like, she reminded me a lot of like Maya Angelou, like that type of black woman, you know, and real into the poetry and all that stuff. And I started picking up poetry, or I started picking up, you know, I just like to write everything. Everything that I used to hear in class, I used to just write. You know, I was just a doodler. But and she was the first to come and start challenging me, like outside of class. Every week she had a writing assignment for me, like do this. And I didn't understand it back then, but I just like writing. Like, okay, you want to write a story about this? I will. So, you know, finding out how she passed, maybe that kind of was part of it was just in me or something. Because she died from getting her throat slit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe that was the reason why I was so gory.
So when you was young?
Yeah, but I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't, because she literally, she was real strong out on drugs and stuff. So she came, had me, and left. And I went straight to, I was a ward of the state at that point. I went straight to foster care. But being I was young, I was a baby, I didn't have to experience the group home thing. And I'm thankful for that, because it probably would have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I was taken in by this elderly white couple who took me in and kept me until I was 3, and that's when I got adopted with my family now.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. I would have never known.
Yeah.
That's what I say about like stories. We just never know anybody's story.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, right, we make jokes, we judge, we make judgments, but we just never know somebody's story. Wow,
I actually just made a post about that on Instagram, a reel about that, about when you just start making changes in your life. People got so used to who you used to be that they don't know how to see you differently. So naturally, how society puts it, if you don't understand something, you judge it.
Exactly.
So that people in your past start seeing you changing and be like, yo, you think you too good.
Right.
I'm still the same person, you know, I still talk the same language. But I mean, you know, I've been through those things, but I started making a change to want better. And now you're like, oh, what type of time you want? Because I don't want to be out here doing the same stuff. And I know I went through a lot worse than what y'all done went through. And if you understood the person's story, you understand they change.
Absolutely.
If you don't understand, you'll think they acting differently. You know what I'm saying? If you understood what I've been through, or even what he's been through, or you've been through, or he's been through, you start understanding why, as they grow older, you start to grow more into yourself. And that's a growing process. You could live to 100 years old, and you can learn it for 100 years. You know what I'm saying?
It's still growing.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely always growing. So we got through the elementary, and now we're going to move into the middle school. So you were noticing everything that was around you. So you're very intuitive, like watching your surroundings and looking at people, and sensitive to other people's needs and what they're missing. And so when you hit that middle school years and you started getting to that next range, was it still the same, or did things change? Did you still feel like the same individual?
It was more, I was noticing just different changes of like how people are turning out, because 5th grade to 6th grade, that was 2 different schools. So moving from 5th grade to 6th grade, I could see that either like the summer, or maybe they're just like trying to change their personalities themselves and stuff like that. Because middle school, that was fucking tough for me. It was very hard because the friends that I used to call friends, because remember earlier when I said there was a group of people I hang out with, there's people I love and stuff like that, those are the people that would bully the fuck out of me. I probably didn't take the best care of myself when I say this, because yes, I was playing video games and like just drinking all the soda, just making certain I was a very unhealthy kid. I probably should have been like that. My parents probably should have stepped in and been like, okay, drink some more water, just be more healthy with them. Well, the changes that I saw in people were just how they treated me versus back in the other day or elementary school days where I saw them and how other people treated them. So when when it came to like the bullying aspect of it, like people used to call me a crackhead all the time. And I was like, I don't know what that word means. I've never seen what a true crackhead is. I never experienced that before. So that goes back to me saying I was confused, because why are these people that are literally my age calling me this word that literally the first time me hearing about it was in 6th grade. So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't let that bother me too much, but as soon as like 7th grade and 8th grade came around, stuff like that, it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where like people, they were threatening me 24/7. Like I had people twice my size come up to me, push me to the ground, like people that are trying to fight me all the time. And I was like, why y'all trying to fight me? I don't know what's happening. So again, I just tried to distance myself away from these people. But for some reason, the confusion still set in, because I don't know why they're attacking me. Especially when in elementary school, I always cared about these people. So just to see the changes in the aspect of how I think kind of peer pressure affected them, because you just have like the random 8th grader coming up to a 6th grader and saying, hey man, what drugs you do? And I was like, I don't do any drugs, I'm still a kid. Like, I don't even know how they even get my hands on any of this stuff. So as I got to 8th grade, I even had a teacher at one point come up to me and was like, she was like acting weird to the point where it's like, okay, cool, am I about to get in trouble? So I see her like sniffing, like she was trying to smell something and stuff like that. And she pulled me to the side and she said, do you got weed on you? And I was like, no. So this is where I kind of had to be a man to the aspect of it, because I pulled out my pockets, pulled out everything, gave her my bag and stuff like that. So after that happened, my parents, they did not like that whatsoever. So they would make me wear a clear book bag so people can see inside of my bag. So if people were to suggest that I had like drugs on me or whatever, they can just look at the bag and be like, oh, there's nothing in there. Because I had many times where I was pulled into the office, the principal's office, with cops everywhere, like literally up to like 4 cops at a time, because they thought I was the problem child and had the weed, had a little drugs and stuff like that. I never did. Like, and that goes on. It's like the mentality that I have going out of middle school was like, okay, maybe I should become a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? That was just only a thought at the time. So that's pretty much it from middle school.
Middle school, that sounds rough.
Yeah.
And middle school is rough, I think, for most of us. And it's unfortunate that it is, but judgments, I can't, and the fact that you had to wear a backpack, just to prove yourself, in middle school, you're still just trying to learn who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And then to see people change from being nice to you to all of a sudden now I'm treating you a different way. So it's just so unfair. I think it's so unfair. I have an issue with bullying. I'm just like, that's like one of the things that I'm like, bullies. I can't.
Well, it's like one of the points that I made in my music is because I love positive energy whenever I put music out. I try to never ever do anything to where it just sounds disrespectful. So saying like a cuss word, for example, because earlier, I was like cussing like when I make music and stuff like that, but like this is when I started moving into it. I want to show myself in a different light, and that turned into more positive music instead of like all talking about like, oh, about to shoot you up or any of that stuff like that, because like in middle school I did experience people getting shot up. I did experience people getting stabbed like multiple times. And it was like, it goes back to the thing, it's like, I was confused to why this was even happening. Like, I'm only like, I don't even know what the age gap for that be.
Something like, what, that's 4th, 5th, like 6th grade.
No, I'm talking about middle
Oh,
school.
you mean middle school?
Like,
6th, 7th, 8th.
Yeah, so it was like, why am I experiencing this stuff at this age right now? I was just confused, really all the time. It really didn't make no sense to me.
But you came out with it. Did you start music at that time?
I started
writing at least?
I started freestyle in elementary school because that was to me my only way of not getting people to like me, but to try to show them that I'm not the people that they're trying, or not the person they're trying to make me out to be. When I started writing was middle school, because I could write, show my friend that I actually did trust at the time, hey, this is my stuff and stuff like that, and build friendships off that. You know what I mean?
Okay, your time. Your middle
Middle school
experience.
Middle school was kind of the same because back then it was like skin color mattered, not just black or white or black, white or brown. It was dark skin didn't like the light skin, and light skin didn't like the dark skin, because they always would try to fight us. You know what I mean? Like, so as I started running into that, and I'm like real, like I didn't know, because I was adopted by black parents. I didn't know until later on that my mom was white, so I was biracial. So I didn't understand, like, I was lighter than a light skinned kid. So I would get picked on for being light by the black people, you know, especially like dark skinned people or whatever. But they would just joke on me. You can't say the N-word because, you know, I won't know if you black or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be joked on, or I would be soft, so they would pick on me a lot because, you know, light skinned people soft. You know what I'm saying? So I'm finding myself fighting all the time now. And like you said, to be your friends, we live in the same neighborhood. We was friends, staying in each other's house and all that, and we were still friends, but they thought that friendship was based on we gotta joke each other, we gotta beat each other up, you know what I'm saying? And I just was the butt end of it all the time. And then I would try to like hang with white people then, because I'm like, man, forget y'all, man, I'm trying to fight y'all all the time. Y'all don't think I fit in. So I started hanging around with the white people, but then I was a black guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I didn't really understand where to fit in, but at the time, I didn't even know that I was biracial. I didn't even know what biracial was, because, you know, it's not as it wasn't as big then when you see a mixed couple like that. Back then, black people was with black people, white people was white people. So biracial was something that was kind of like new. You know what I'm saying? But I did like pick up sports because we used to play around the way all the time: football, basketball, baseball, you name it, flipping. You know, I got into gymnastics, stuff like that, and that was my way of trying to like be cool, because I was nice with the football. You know what I'm saying? So like around the way to get in the rec league, to get into school, I was nice with the football. It didn't matter what color I was then, but I had to get into sports to try to like, you know, figure something out. You know, try to fit in somewhere. You know, and I was still like real into school. My dad was like real involved. He'd pop up, have a conversation with the teacher. He would pop into your class. And I got picked on so much, I became like a class clown to a sense because I could make people laugh. So, you know, you can't, even if you try to fight me, I'm gonna try to joke a little bit and get you to laugh, and you're like, I can't even fight him. This dude too funny. You know, I was like that. But yeah, that was like middle school for me though. Just trying to figure out how to fit in. And
and then it gets worse.
Yeah.
High school.
I had to stop the story so I didn't get too much into that.
No, because high school is like, woo, that's the next one. And that is the one that is just totally about identity. It's like, who am I? Who am I? Like, where do I actually, like, if you fit in the middle school and then you get to high school and it's like, high school you might fit in, but then you might, you know, but high school is when they definitely start grouping.
Yeah, it was starting the whole time. That's what that's where you see like just how society breeds children, because in elementary school, friends were your friends, and it wasn't so confusing because we didn't know how to do anything else but be friends with each other. You know what I'm saying? You all, I step out my house, we see each other. We go to school together. We probably was in preschool together, but you know, we were friends. And then when you transition to the other school, like you said, then you know everybody has a desire to want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Or y'all might not have the same class together. Like I know we had like in middle school is when we started going to different classes every block or whatever like that. So we wasn't just sitting in the class with the same every day. So now our friends are trying to make friends with somebody in another class, and they taking on that same mentality. So the people you're friends with in elementary school, they trying to find themselves, and sometimes it'd be at the cost of tearing somebody else down. You know, and then in high school, it's like when you pretty much notice in high school, it's like you think you know what you about to be for the rest of your life. Yep, I got to figure it out. I'm going to college. Yep, I'm gonna drop out. I ain't even going to college. But you kind of figured out where you're gonna go because you went through all that trial and error in middle school. In high school, like, yeah, I'm about to be a jock, man. You know what I'm saying?
You decide on what group you're going to be in.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking high school, if I can remember correctly, high school is more like you did kind of fit into the group that you fit in. So kind of at that point, it's not like, I mean, even though you're still dealing with who I am, it's still like, I know who I am, so I'm a jock, or I am. You kind of have identified, this is what I want to be. So this is the group I want to go into, right? So for each one of you, where did you fit in high school? What was your tribe during that time?
I like that word. That's a good way of saying it. I don't know, tribe?
Did you have one?
Well, I kind of feel in like a lot of different places because really, this starting high school, that's when I started like wrestling and stuff like that. That's when I started bulking up, and that by the time senior year came around, I would say that's when I first like really got into like my group, and I was just the guys who just like to work out. Like I was like almost 190 pounds at the time. And it was like, I was a big boy. And it was like, when I was doing that, a lot of the other stuff that happened in middle school, that's when it started like kind of fading away and stuff like that. Cause you don't want to mess with like the short, like muscular guys. So it's like, okay, cool. So that's where I kind of like slid there, stayed there, and stayed the rest of the time.
So sports helped at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And was you the same with the sports, or was it something different?
No,
what was your tribe? What was your tribe?
No, because I stopped doing sports. I did it for a little bit of high school, but it didn't last long because when I got to high school is when I started realizing the smart kid wasn't cool. You know, that would be another reason to joke on me because I was a smart kid. Or if you were cool with me, it was because you were trying to cheat off a paper or something like that. But so to avoid being uncool because I felt like I had to be cool is my defense mechanism. So to continue to be cool, I had friends who used to leave school early because they had jobs and they drove, so they were able to leave school early. I'm hopping in the car with them, or I'm leaving. And it got to the point I would just show up for home room so they can mark me present for the day. You know what I'm saying? And avoid them calling my mom. You know, and then I go to homeroom, go to the bathroom or leave after class, and I'm gone for the day. So I wasn't doing school. So football and basketball was kind of out of the question. But I was getting into rapping. And even back then, that was a time period where everybody wasn't a rapper like they do now. Like, if you say you was a rapper, you was probably one in a few. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's a rapper now.
Yeah.
Back then, if you say, yo, I'm a rapper, they'd be like, yo, for real? For real?
What's your music at?
You know what I'm saying? For real, speak something. Yo, you need to be signed. Like, it was like that. So that made me popular when I did show up to school because I was rapping. I used to have tapes. I used to make tapes in my mom's house with me and my friends. And we called it 246 Records. 246 came in math class. We were talking. I just seen it on the chalkboard, 246. And we were just doing, and I passing out tapes every week. We putting out tapes. You know what I'm saying? And we end up getting, like, by the 10th grade, it was CDs, and we passed out CDs. We used to put like porn stars on the cover.
This is marketing. This is already.
You want to buy this porno, $5. You know what I'm saying? They'll buy it and put it in a DVD player. They're like, yo, what's up? They'd be mad, but we already got their $5. But that high school is just like I was done with school, and I had went through a rebellious stage anyway because I had found out at this point about my mom. You know, and I found it in a way that kind of like messed me up because my dad used to have this file cabinet with his kids. Each kid had a folder, and he'd keep like report cards and just different mementos. So I was going through it because he used to steal my raps all the time. He'd find my rap book or rap page, and he'd take it, beat me up a little bit for cussing and talking crazy. So I'm going in there like, yo, I had some ill raps, and then my dad got them, so I'm snuck in there trying to get them so I could make me a tape. And I found this newspaper article, and the newspaper article had this white woman on there, and they were talking about it. She had got killed, and how she got killed, and all that stuff. And it was a few years ago. I was probably 7 when it happened. So I go to my dad. I'm like, all right, what you got a picture of a dead white woman in my folder for? And now he had to tell me. So I went through like, I just felt like I was confused. I didn't understand because I was 14 when I found out. So I'm like, was it like it was about 14 when I found out. So I'm like, yo, everything y'all been telling me was a lie. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't tell me what to do. Y'all ain't my parents. You can't love me for real. My own mama walked out on me. My mama dead. You know, I putting all that stuff together. So with me not going to school, I couldn't go home. My mama wasn't out. So I had to go hang out on the street with the older cats who ain't in school. And they like, yo, what's up, little homie? You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to school, let's smoke. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, let's get drunk. What else are we gonna do? And that's, you know, I started getting 14. I was like smoking weed on a regular basis, getting drunk. Shoot, when I used to go to school, man, I used to go to school, man, with a NyQuil bottle. NyQuil. I stayed having NyQuil at my house because I drank NyQuil through school. This was before we knew anything about lean, syrup. I'm taking that because I thought I'll look real cool if I look like I'm real high. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I started taking that. Started drinking that a lot. And, you know, it was just like a spiral, you know, because those older cats was telling me all the wrong things. Right. You know what I'm saying? They was getting me to do dummy missions for real, you know, treat me like a flunky instead of like, and that's why I like to be in a situation where I can talk to the younger generation for real, because we ain't have that growing up. The older heads we had, I mean, in the 80s, think about it, the 80s were messed up anyway. They were messed up. People who were already adults in the 80s. I was born in 85. So my parents' generation, they were kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying? Because they were, this was in Richmond. This is the crack epidemic out of Richmond. These was where you had like real gangs out of Richmond killing people because they fighting over drugs and stuff like that. You know, so they were telling us little ones who felt like they ain't have no, we just out on our own. You know, I can take care of them. I want to make sure nothing happens to you. You know what I'm saying? Teach you a few things so you can survive out here. And my mom ended up kicking me out at 15. You know what I'm saying? My adopted mom, because my dad. Yeah, I just had so much going on. She's like, you can't stay in my house no more. So now I'm really out there, and I'm loving it because I'm cool now because I'm with the dudes that my friends at the school couldn't even have a conversation with. Like, I'm dealing with these dudes. But the whole time to deal with them, I gotta take the most risk in the world. You know, my nuts have packs of crack. I'm just riding around the car with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the transaction. They just driving. Because if something happened, I'm gonna go get this juvenile slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna find another little youngin' that's gonna take his place.
Exactly. So do you mind if I take him to the next step, because I want to see how he got out of it, and then I'll come back to you.
No, you're good. Go ahead. I like this.
So how did you come out of this high school, and then the high school coming out of this, how did you end up out of that game?
Well, out of my whole neighborhood, you know, even my neighborhood has tried to form like a gang, for real. Just, you know, just trying to be, we're gonna be them young wild boys, you know what I'm saying? We can go to school, we jumping people, you know what I'm saying? We're a gang. You know what I'm saying? We shooting up houses. We go around your neighborhood, we gonna shoot your house up, you know, shoot your mama house up, and we young. But just out of all of them, I was the first one to get locked up. Like at 15 is when I first started going, you know, I went to juvenile at 15 for stealing some beer out of the store. I used to steal beer and sell them to people. You sell it to yeah. But I was 14. You know, I was running the store, still cases of beer, or still as much beer as I could fit in my coat and stuff. Line my coat, my pants, ready, run out, go sell them to my friends at school who go to school, or you know, people who want to get drunk. And so, and then I just was getting locked up for truancy and stuff, and then not going to school. And then I went to jail for a stolen car. And I remember when they locked me up, my man had been locked up in juvenile so many times, and they came to lock me up this night in his stolen car. I'm like, take me, I'm ready to go. Because I was building my name up as being that he always locked up. That boy crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because after my mom kicked me out, the people in the streets were telling me to make sure that nobody mess with you. You got to be the craziest person in the room. So I'm gonna do the craziest stuff. I'm gonna get locked up. I got locked up, and while we were in the police car, I'm like, it's a breeze. I'm gonna be out of here in no time. They passed the juvenile and went to jail. I didn't realize I had just turned 18. So now I'm getting locked up as an adult. And the first thing I seen when I walked up into jail was this dude. We walked past the medical unit, and this dude head was busted like white meat, like he was holding his face together or something. And I was like, man, I'm in a whole nother world. But that didn't stop me though, because like I kept going. I ended up spending in the course of my life, I've spent over 14 years locked up. You know what I'm saying? I just had a couple little times, basically as juvenile, just sitting down for 14 days or 30 days. Everything else after that was when I got older, I did 2 months for the stolen car. So I really feel bad now, like they dropped the charges. You know what I'm saying? I'm back out, and a couple months later, I got locked up for robbery for 3 years. Came out of there. So from 18 to 21, I was locked up. Stayed out for like 6 months. So I'm still going back at 21. From 22 to 29, because I did 8 years after I got home from 3. And got out and then stayed out for a little bit. Then got a violation and got 2 more years. So it's like, and I just started looking at all those years. You know what I'm saying? Like the 2 years one was the one that broke me down, because I felt like that was the one I lost the most. Like I felt like I was establishing myself a little bit more, and like you say, boom, it's gone. I'm locked up, and relationships just broke. People just really gave up. Like, yo, you just did 8 years now. Like 3 weren't enough. Now you just did 8. Now you back locked up. Like we done. And I didn't have nobody. Like I just did that whole time by myself for the longest time, and that was just giving me time to really think. Like I just wasted lost a lot of time. But then even in the loss of the time, I was realizing that the positive, the blessing in that was that every time that I got locked up, if I like took an honest look back at my life right before I got locked up, if I didn't get locked up, I was gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Each time I was really about to kill myself, or somebody's gonna kill me. But I just started thinking like, this ain't. I remember waking up in the cell all the time and just being like, yo, I feel like I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, when is this gonna be over? Ended up beating the woman who would become my wife, locked up. And it was just we were just talking, and she was into the church and she was ministering to me, and we ended up getting married, locked up. And that kind of gave me a spark, like, all right. And then she was out here, so it was taking me out of Richmond. I'm like, yo, for real, like God gave me another chance to really get this right. You know what I'm saying? New place, more stability, a wife, a family now, because her kids were in the package too. And it was like, yo, this is what I always asked for. And then the biggest thing was like, I took like a lot of losses. Last year I lost, after last year, all my grandparents are gone. My grandma died in the beginning of last year. And then like when COVID first hit, my grandma, my grandfather, and my uncle died in the same week for COVID. So it was like, it kind of broke me for real. Like I was getting drunk, crazy, alcoholic status. Like I didn't care. I was just wilding. And my wife had opened this daycare, and one of the clients had like dropped her kid off, and the baby off, was coming back and get her and everything, and then she stopped. She just knocked on the door, left the baby on the doorstep.
Oh,
My wife opened it and the baby fell in. She was like 9 months at the time. And she's still with us to this day. She'd be 3 at the end of this year. She's still with us to this day. You know what I'm saying? So, and I haven't had kids of my own. So, like, God really put in this baby. Everybody says she looked just like me. But that's when I would just start putting things in perspective. Like, I see what God did in my life. He gave me everything I was looking for. I ain't got to keep looking. But not only that, but now I got is looking to me to be what she needs in her life. So I got to like tighten up on a whole lot of things. For one, I was a rapper, and my music was crazy. You know what I'm saying? As far as the wordage and stuff like that. But she still wants to see Daddy on a video or whatever like that. So I had to start changing the message I was giving so she can listen to my music, even down to my just natural conversation. Stop cussing so much. Through the course of not cussing so much, I realized you don't really be cussing. I definitely had to stop the drinking because I couldn't just be in this baby's face smelling like, and that's really what started making me grow up. Just seeing the things I lost, but seeing through those losses that I thought broke me, the things I was really gaining. And I was, just it's like it's time to make a change, I'll be 40 in a couple of years.
Absolutely. I definitely, at some point, want to bring you back because I want to bring y'all back to talk about, because it looks like it's a lot. Like, I think when we have an opportunity to voice our stuff, we need to get out as much as we can because it helps somebody else, because they can hear similarities in their story. Maybe they never talked about it, or nobody's ever, showed them that, okay, well, there's another side to everything that I'm experiencing. So I think it's good to be able to have your voice and to speak it. So let's finish up yours. How did you make your change, your transition from high school up to now? And I think we got a few more minutes to do before the library goes.
Realistically, as soon as I left high school, because technically I tried to leave as early as possible because I just did not want to be there. I felt like I just wanted to grow and technically become a man at that point. So at that point, literally the week I left high school was December 25th, around that time. Next year, I started a job at a truck stop. I was pulling in 90 hours plus a week. And every time I was doing that, I was the happiest I've ever been at that point, right? But back to what I was saying earlier about the slaving over money and stuff like that. At the point, all I could think about was just the money. I was making a few grand a week and stuff like that. When it came down to it, that's when I realized, and when I actually became more myself like I am right now, is I don't need so much. I need technically what I need, but as you said, not the wants. Like, you don't have to have like the new gang system, or you don't have to have all this marijuana, you don't have to have like this whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever I just make music in general, I'm the happiest thing. You could probably test that too, right?
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. So like earlier, like even yesterday when I was saying like I could be homeless right now and still be happy because I can still freestyle on the street, just have some fun. Like all about that is just at the end of the road, I didn't let the name calling, I didn't let the bullying stop me, and it made me want to help people more that are going through that right now, because there's so much right now that, especially just like in general, like the general bullying, like picking on somebody for what they look like, or just difference that they don't usually see before. And as of right now, that's really just my main focus, is just to help people in any way I can. And with all the things that happened from elementary school, middle school, high school, I realized that to me that's kind of like my main purpose on this earth right now, is just to help other people. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really it.
Okay. And so I'm gonna ask y'all one more question, and what I also want to say to you all is I think that we're developing that platform for you all to be that, because you said you want to be almost like a mentor. You want to as well. You want to help people to share with other people. I think that's where we're heading towards. Eventually, we are. I mean, my vision is to see you guys along with some other ones in the school systems, like literally going to talk to kids on different levels. That's what my vision is. And that's what I'm putting out. I'm putting out, I always believe, put out what I want into the universe, and it is going to happen, and so it is. And so I would love for you guys to be part of that journey when you get there, you know, to be able to speak and to be able to voice that, and through your music and through the platform that we're developing now. So basically the platform is going to be integrating music, mental health, and psychology. Psychology, which is my first love, because the world is run by psychology. And mental health is us being able to learn as we go through the moments that we go through, but take that as a learning experience and be able to come out of it to be the better person that we all can be. Right? But we still need guides, and sometimes the guides are not there that we need. And that's why we need as many people to speak their truth and to speak their voice, so that they can guide the people that are supposed to be guided by them, because it's going to be different for each one of us. So who you're supposed to guide is going to be a little different than who he's supposed to guide and who I'm supposed to guide or my son is going to guide. But nonetheless, we all could come together to do that as a whole, because we're better as a whole together. So my last one is that I believe in life lessons, and I believe that every experience that we go through is something that is we were meant to go through. I mean, and even if it was horrible, even if it was bad, it helped us to grow to where we needed to get to. And so I don't believe in mistakes at all. I believe it's just part of the process, But what we do with the process is the key. So if you were to tell one life lesson that you would want to share to everybody who's watching this, what would that life lesson be?
Don't stop just because somebody else tells you to.
Okay. Love it.
Y'all pretty much be it.
I love it. Good. All right. One lesson, life lesson.
One life lesson I would say would be know who you are. You know, know who you are. Even when we're learning, we still have to have a knowledge of who we are. You know, because like you said, if you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
That was wonderful.
That was dope.